Welcome. Join me in sitting for this practice. You might want to grab a blanket either to sit on now or for later. We are going to be inverting and you may want some support under your shoulders. Take a moment and just close your eyes and take a few conscious breaths to center your attention. And I want you to draw your attention in. Come all the way into your center, to a place that feels safe. And when you exhale, just open your mouth and let that be a gentle sigh out and allow your head to fall forward toward your heart. If your eyes are closed, just blink them open until you can focus again. And then you're going to raise your gaze. If you do have a blanket, you're just going to put that to the side. And then you're going to make your way to all fours. We're going to go straight away into downward facing dog. And you can always opt out and go to puppy pose or child's pose instead. Once you've set up the foundation of your pose, see if you can hold still. And just come back again to the safe place inside. Take one more breath, just stretching into the posture. And if you're not in child's pose, just drop your knees and go there now. Exhale and release your hips down on or near your heels. You could always grab your blanket and put it behind the back of your knees if you need a little support there. If possible, continue to sit on your heels and rise up in your spine. If that's too much for your knees, again, you can put the blanket between the upper and lower legs behind the knees, or sit in a different way that works better for you. You're going to reach behind your back and clasp your own forearms. You might even find holding your elbows works for you, or maybe you're holding your wrists. You're going to grab gently and just slightly pull, like a very subtle energy of pulling on your own wrists as if to broaden your shoulders. And then you're going to tuck your chin and gaze down. And we're working today on some smaller poses, some tucked in, drawn back to where it feels more safe. So maybe you keep the eyes closed, or maybe this is just a metaphor for just a moment longer here to look within and create a sense of safety, to notice the cues of safety around you. What makes you feel safe right now? And go slow and just release your hands. You're going to inhale and reach your arms overhead. When you exhale, bend your elbows, join your palms, and bring them right down the midline, acknowledging this ability to feel safe even when things are a challenge and scary. As the hands come down, you're going to flex the spine, fold over the legs like you're going back to child's pose. With the knees closer together, you might even be able to rest your head on your knees. You're going to reach around and grab for your heels and pull gently on the heels, kind of rounding the back up in a version of rabbit pose or hare pose. Flex your belly, draw your waistline up, and spread the back ribs apart. Inhale, release the feet, stretch the arms forward. Rise to all fours and once more come into downward facing dog. Exhaling to push the chest just a tiny bit deeper in the pose. And even though this pose stretches, the limbs are straight, it's a little bit of a bigger shape. Keep your attention drawn in, maybe into your breath. Or just keeping the eyes closed so you're seeing the inner world instead of the outer world right now. And then exhale and drop the knees again. And this time we're going to do a very wide version of child's pose. So if your inner knees are a little sensitive and you're on a hardwood floor like I am, you might choose to turn sideways or put padding under your knees. So you're going to open the knees as wide as you can without any pain. The feet are still together. And then you're going to drop the torso forward again. Lean the hips toward the heels. And tilt the sitting bones toward the sky. So the pubic bone moves back between your legs. We're aiming to stretch the inner legs, but to keep this softer kind of tucked in awareness by having the head down, the gaze inward. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Just letting the inner legs, the adductors, stretch. Start to walk yourself torso upright, just enough that you can bring your knees back toward each other. If you turn on your mat, just turn back and sit on your heels with the knees together again. We're going to do what we did before. So reach behind your back and see if you can clasp with the other forearm on top. Gentle tug, roll the shoulders back. Lift the chest. And now bow the head. Even though the chest is lifting and the shoulders are widening, the head is down, the mind is quiet. Same as last time, release the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms wide, reach overhead. You can lift the head to a neutral position, but feel free to keep your eyes closed. Exhale, draw the hands together and bring them down the midline. Rise to all fours. Push back to downward facing. Hold still. Find cues of safety. Like you may have noticed 2 dogs with me. One is my Lizzie dog. The other is our foster girl. Her name is Ember. And having other beings with me, listening to them breathe, that makes me feel safe and calm. What's happening in your environment that can help you cue into that safety? Can you hear your own breath? Start to step your feet toward the middle of your mat, but go wide, like shoulder width or outer hip width apart. Exhale and fold in and just have a tiny softness in the knees so that the pose is not feeling too rigid or too difficult for today. And we're gonna squat. If you know that your heels won't stay on the floor, you can grab your blanket and slide it under your heels. Turn the heels in and the toes out, so the heels are like hips width, toes are wider, and then squat. Keep the head down and let the shoulders fall in between the knees. Now, if this is really challenging for you with the balance, of course, the blanket will help, but you might also reach out and grab the outer edges of your mat, push them forward to counterbalance the weight of your hips sitting back like they are here. You can use your hands to assist with this if it's hard for you to sit down slowly and carefully, or just let your butt fall to the ground. Walk the feet, soles of the feet together, and push them forward so the diamond between the pelvis and the heels is bigger. Slide your hands under your ankles and wrap them around your toes. So the feet are more forward than the normal position here. And then you're gonna aim your head toward the soles of the feet or the heels. And this is a version of tortoise pose or kurmasana. So you can slide the hips back a little if that helps you get the head down. But picture your back body like the shell of a tortoise, rounding up, protecting you. And you can just draw in, get smaller, feel safer. Even though there may be a little effort here, try to soften that effort. You're going to roll up slowly, just sliding the hands out and bringing the head up last. As you come up, grab your outer knees, bring the feet back close to the hips, and wrap your arms around your legs. Tuck in as small as you can. You can even bring your head down, maybe rest your forehead on your knees. And come back to that safe, protected place inside where everything feels like it's going to be okay. Even if we don't know it is, we've got to keep that little touchstone of a few things, a few places where there's some ease and some safety. Begin to transition to rolling down onto your back. Bring the knees with you and hug them in towards your chest. This is where we're going to do the inversion. If you have any concerns about your neck, you can place your blanket under the shoulders and upper arms as you swing the feet overhead. So if your feet easily make it to the floor, you can go to plow pose. If they don't, or that feels like too much strain on your neck, you can reach toward your feet with your hands, kind of bend your knees, and hover on your upper back instead of on your shoulders. So I'm showing that. It's a little bit weird looking, I'm sure. But find a way where you can stay with this sort of small, soft position, something like plow pose or snail pose. We're kind of hovering on your back, floating the feet. Just take a couple of breaths. And begin to roll out. And you want to do this with control, using either your hands on the ground or the strength of your abs so that your head doesn't fly off the ground when you land. You're going to open the knees and come into happy baby. And rock gently from side to side. Let the tail come up so that the weight is moving a little bit more toward the mid-back. You can rock on that part on either side of the spine, just pressing into tight muscles that might be there. Okay, slip your left ankle over the right knee. Hold the right knee with your hands and come into figure 4 or upward facing pigeon pose. You start to feel too much intensity, whether in your body or just emotionally speaking. Just remember that you can always have selective awareness. This isn't really trying to be like a Pollyanna. Like, hard things are happening right now, challenging things, but we can focus on what brings us joy, what helps us feel more calm, more clear, more ease. And this is the beauty of yoga. It's the juxtaposition of, yes, we know that things might be hard, but we also have the capacity to hold space for what's good, what's easy, what's beautiful. Okay, we're gonna unhook. I switched legs in there and didn't say anything, so do the other leg at some point. And then come back into sort of that upward facing child's pose and hold the knees once more. And slowly release your feet to the mat. Just step them apart slightly and tip your knees into one another and let your legs rest. So even here, we're gonna take our shavasana in a smaller version than normal. Place your hands on your belly or maybe on your chest. And instead of stretching all the way out, we're staying with this just slightly tucked in, little bit tighter or smaller position. Just continuing to cultivate safety, ease. Let's take 3 breaths together. We'll breathe in the nose and out the mouth. 2 more. The last one, we're going to make it an audible sigh. If your eyes are closed, just start to blink them until you're back aware of the room you're in now. And just feel your back resting on the mat. And then begin to roll over to your side. Try not to kick, do anything jarring to your back. Just go slow and roll up through the spine, pushing with the hands until you can bring the head up last. Go ahead and sit again. And we'll just sit for, not long, 30 seconds or a minute. Just sitting up. And maybe, like for me, immediately cross legs didn't feel good. I want to stay with this feeling of being kind of drawn back into myself, feeling safe. So maybe wrap the knees with the arms again, whatever feels safe to you, and just stay with that. And know that I am here with you. And together we can create this sense of safety and connection. Thanks for practicing, and I'll see you next time.